Shalom and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is Meditation and Mindfulness with Rabbi Adam Kligfeld.
Boker Tov, everyone. Good morning. Morning to those who are joining me in person, those joining on Zoom, to those who are watching on Facebook Live, whether that's on my personal page or Temple Beth Am's page. And hello any time of day to those who might be listening on the Temple Beth Am podcast. Here, once again, is our opportunity for a morning burst of meditation, self-care, self-reflection, introspection, and also nothingness at the same time. We go in a meditation for something and for nothing simultaneously. And I keep mentioning this out loud when I begin a meditation, both for your edification and for my own, because it's a helpful reminder that a meditation process should be about filling and emptying our minds with things that are important, and clearing out the detritus, but also emptying our minds and seeing what's there when everything else is scraped away. I often have in these meditations some kind of a prompt or a hook that connects to something from our tradition, whether it's Parsha-based or calendar-based. Today it is Tefillah-based. Very early on in the morning davening, in a section that some people say on their own before they get to shul, and sometimes it's said in shul almost always quietly, there's a paragraph that begins, Yehi Ratzon, may be God's will. It's a common way to begin kind of an informal prayer. It's not a Baruch Atah Hashem prayer. It's a may be God's will that. And we're asking that God save us from azei fanim, first of all, those who are insolent. Az means like kind of strong, and panim is face, so a strong-faced person in the sense of someone who lives with effrontery, someone who's arrogant and insolent and doesn't care about their impact on others. But what's so interesting about that phrase is that we're asking God to keep us from people who would act that way, but immediately the prayer switches to from azei fanim, those who exhibit that trait, to azut panim, the trait itself. It's so easy to ask God or to ask the universe to keep us from people who have certain characteristics. It's more important in some ways and harder to ask ourselves to distance from that trait. So yes, keep all of those insolent people away from us and keep us from insolence. It's a great reminder in our tefillah that the moment we are focusing on someone else's character trait that we struggle with, that is hard for us, that is the exact moment to ask ourselves, which part of that do we exhibit? And how do we efface that from our character? That's something we can control. Can we control whether or not God places insolent people in our presence? I don't know. I won't stop davening for it, but I don't know. But I do know that we can control to some level the extent to which we represent that characteristic. So in this meditation, I want to push us in that direction, recognizing the things that are present in others that push our buttons, and then see what happens when we turn it on ourselves. And mostly, I want this meditation to be about just about nothing. If you have not already, please close your eyes. And feel the warm descent into a pool of serenity, as if you've entered an endless place with no horizon, where in all directions you have comfort, you have calm, wellness is everywhere around you. For the moment, none of the pressures or concerns that might intrude upon this day or this weekend, none of them are present. They are snapped away, if you get the Marvel reference. All you have in this moment is you. The position of your body, the concentration of your mind, the openness of your heart, the gift of silence, punctuated here and there by a proper focus. We may explore in these moments, but we have no specific purpose. Our purpose is to reclaim being. Being as the most active of verbs. For these moments, there is nothing to see. There is nothing to do. There is nothing to want. You haven't already attuned with a certain consciousness to your breathing. You need not change it much. It should be something enjoyable. Maybe a little slower than it was without exaggeration. A process of awareness rather than a process that is automatic. Let your body sag and descend, your limbs like the boughs of a weeping willow, holding nothing up artificially, clenching no muscles that do not absolutely need to be clenched for you to hold this position. Let your forehead be unfurrowed. Let your eyeballs be heavy and deep in their sockets. Let your chin hang just a bit so that your mouth is slightly open. Let your spine do all the work as everything else is at rest. God save us from azei fanim, those who are arrogant and insolent and the source of effrontery. Maybe immediately people's faces jumped up in your mind. People you know personally, people in the headlines. Yes, may God keep us from them. And may God save us from azut panim, from effrontery and insolence and arrogance and a way of being that might make someone else pray that God keep us from them. And allow your mind to fill in with words or images or even feelings other such traits. Traits that when you are a witness to them in others, they would qualify for that which you would ask God to distance you from. Dishonesty, anger, selfishness, impatience, rudeness. They have faces jumping up in your mind. People who represent those midot, those character traits that are so hard to be present with. And on the other side of your mind's eye, let moments where you fall victim to such midot pop up. Might as well be honest with yourself, because no one is in your mind beside you. You're not exposing yourself to anyone but yourself. May God save you from your impoliteness, your impatience, your selfishness, your close-heartedness, your rudeness. And spend the next few minutes in quiet meditation, in word or image, toggling back and forth between these challenging traits and others about which you have very little control. And how they arise in you, about which you have ultimate control. And throughout it all, we breathe and we rest and we engage in being. When you're ready, you can open your eyes, and I will share the closing prayer. We'll say together 3 times. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. And may we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. And I say to you all, Shalom, and Shabbat Shalom, and Namaste. I'll see you soon.
You have been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast site or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about Temple Beth Am Los Angeles, go to tbala.org.